All right, JJ, this is symbolic. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. It looks to my eyes like JJ, so I'll call you that if that's all right with you. I'm responding to your video called Pious Atheists. Very provocative title. Your video is attached to one by Clevonamerica called Atheism and Stamp Collecting. Which one is the hobby? Where he mentions that a user left a comment on his video saying that atheism is as much a religion as not collecting stamps is a hobby, which is an interesting statement. And then he went on to say that to note that there's a difference between just happening, not collecting stamps or just happening to be an atheist, as opposed to committing yourself, dedicating yourself to basically attacking religion. That this was basically very different, and I agree with that. I mean, I agree that any dogmatic assertion that God does not exist as dogma is, in a sense, some sort of well, it's theological activity anyway. I don't know whether it's religious activity, but it's theological activity. Actually, curiously enough, it defines itself as the negative of something else. It sort of makes itself a mere shadow of something, rather than having a positive being of its own. So it's, in that sense, it's weaker, I suppose. If it is defining itself as the negation of something else, rather than having its own positive being. So this is the problem with dogmatic statements, and which is why I really prefer to think of myself as a free thinker. I think you had mentioned in one of your videos that dogmatism is unhealthy. I don't know, I can't remember which adjective you used, but let's say unhealthy for religion. I think it's unhealthy for atheism as well. Any form of dogmatic thought is going to mummify spirituality, and it's going to mummify whatever not stamp collecting is, or atheism might be. In any event, your video, I'm sorry it took me so long, 2.5 minutes to get to your video. Yours is great. Yours starts off very provocatively. Dear brother atheists, welcome to peace. Wonderful. It starts off with provocation and then opens up into peace. Very interesting. Now, what you say in your video, you redefine religion. You say, hey, look, you atheists, you guys have a very primitive, boxed-in definition of religion, and this, this should be, you should get rid of this. You then go on to say that a religion is basically not constructive, but a religion entails certain specific behaviors, certain personal convictions, and certain behaviors. And one of the reason I'm sort of making this video is that I think, in a sense, what you're describing to me is not religion but culture. So it raises the fascinating question to me, not whether there's atheism as a religion, because I don't think it, by my definition, by my primitive boxed-in definition of religion, it doesn't, even in its most dogmatic form, it doesn't qualify as a religion to me. However, it does seem to share some of the qualities of culture, which is strange because it can pop up anywhere. And I think you'd pointed out that maybe part of it is, you didn't say it was transmitted, but you'd mentioned that there are prophets and role models. I wouldn't call anybody that anyone uses as a role model, I wouldn't call them a prophet. I do think there are heroic figures in most areas, and in terms of free thinking or atheism, there are perhaps heroic figures who struggled against oppression, struggled for freedom of expression, and for the right not to believe, or to believe something other than the dominant religion in that area. In the West, it was Christianity, and so these people can become heroic figures. But heroic figures are also an aspect of culture, so it's kind of curious. And culture I don't want to say culture really encompasses religion, because different religions can all be in the same culture. I think they definitely affect each other. Culture influences religion, I believe, or at least the forms of ritual. I'll have to think more about it, but and religion, I think, influences culture. So it's very curious, but I would say that culture is broader than religion. Still, it raises the question as to whether, if there is an atheist culture, quote unquote, which I'm not sure there is, I'm just exchanging and playing with ideas with you, it raises the question, can a culture arise from the simple negation of a thought, or from a single thought? Can that give rise to an entire culture? If we define culture broadly, as you define religion, as something entailing specific behavior, something entailing personal convictions, something entailing, well, I'll say hero figures, predictable behavior, really, if you can predict the behavior. And I think you point out some predictable behavior if you ask certain questions, like you say you might be wrong, or how can something come from nothing. People go wild on you, man. By the way, I won't go wild on you. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. I don't think I'm either right or wrong, because I basically keep an open mind about the whole subject. So in a way, I can't be right or wrong. It's not like a zero-sum deal, zero-sum game in that regard. Anyway, you did mention that you thought that I agree with you that religion is not always in an institutional shape or institutional form, but I disagree that communism is a form of atheism. I think you're talking about Marxist, Leninist communism that expressed itself, I think, in Russia. I wouldn't say that communism, of that form of communism, is an expression of atheism. Atheism is a tenet of that philosophy. It's a sort of a philosophy. There's another question: where does philosophy, where's the line between philosophy and religion? But it can also be viewed as an economic system. But what it basically holds as part of its system is a tenet of atheism. But it is not atheism itself, or a form of atheism. In fact, changing the stress on the syllables, communism goes way back, and can often be found in religious communities. A form of communism, and sharing and distribution of labor and sharing of goods and benefits. So I disagree with you on that. Hopefully you run into some atheists who are of the undogmatic variety. The ones who simply have open mind, what they call weak atheists. Can't stand how they say weak atheists, but I guess technically for debate purposes, that's the definition of that. I had noticed one of your comments, you had made a comment that even water has religion. I think it's very interesting. I'd like to know more what you mean by that, because that's kind of fascinating. I think I know what you mean by that. And it's one of those poetic images that seems fraught with all kinds of possible meanings. I do kind of, in a way, think, though, that it broadens the definition of religion so much that it almost becomes, the term religion becomes difficult to use. It loses its, for debate purposes, it loses its, in a sense, its usability in terms of debate, because it's too broadly defined. But in terms of a spiritual concept, I think it's fascinating. So I'd love to know what you, if you could enlarge on that. What else, man? What did you say in your fascinating video and provocative video? I think I have covered this sort of thing. Yeah, just a thought. When we talk and when we have dialogues, well, I should say more on the kind of discussions, debate area, rather than just sharing personal experiences or testifying. We all fall back on reason and logic. So my question, in case you want to answer, you don't have to answer any of this, but reason and logic, do you believe that those were created too? Do you believe that God is beyond reason and logic, that reason and logic, or mathematics if you wish, are part of creation? And what implications does that have? I mean, if that is true, then 1 equaling 3, as you point out in the Christian doctrine of the Trinity, might be possible. I don't know, but I'd be interested to know what you think. Or is God bound by reason, logic, and mathematics? I kind of tend to think that to some extent reason dictates whether things can exist, whether they're possible or not. I think it's linked into existence, which may be part of creation. I'm out of time. Good talking to you, my friend. Glad to meet you, and thank you. Bye-bye.